Moves that could save your season. That and more this week out in space with Griffin Hunter. Point in time check-in on the Ken side. Week 1 in the books at the new gig. Fire hose of a week. I ran point as the facilitator on the WebEx host meeting for this week. They do an annual meeting that no one gives two shits about, but it was pretty fun for me to get an idea of who I'm going to be working with. Was able to talk to some people. They actually run their own network, which is pretty fucking wild for IT Ken to be able to walk into the lab that they've aptly named the Fishbowl and get dusted by a few servers and some fucking wave boxes that I couldn't even look at sideways. We're potentially talking to our Mel's mom about coming over and living with us to help us out with childcare. And I have the trade bug, which is no surprise to anybody, but it's fucking got me bad. On the league side, we've got Charlie Springfield with her absolute mastery of the planets. She was able to name off the 8 planets with ease, leaving off the dwarf Pluto and its sister Charon. We've also got the Spartan race coming up tomorrow with Sam, Tom, Hunter, Ev, Casey, and Trip going tomorrow. So good luck to you fellas. May the Spartanist man win, I guess. Griff, let's start off with places. If I'm not mistaken, you're actually a Vista guy, not an Oceanside guy, right?
Yes, that's absolutely correct, Ken. And thanks for having me on the pod, man. I'm really excited to be on today. Been a big fan since you started it, and yeah, hopefully I can be a decent contributor. But yes, born and raised in Vista. I went to all my schooling, I guess, technically in Oceanside. So I went to Palmquist. I think you went to Palmquist as well,
yeah,
right?
You're a Palmquist kid? No way.
Yeah. I was thinking about it today, and I was like, I don't think I knew Ken prior to high school, but I think we went to the same elementary because I had your mom. She was my music teacher. Is that blowing your mind right now?
Yeah, so then because like we had this kind of like side thing going on where we're trying to figure out who has the oldest connection, right? So like you were K through 5 at Palmquist?
That's correct. Yep.
Okay, so we have potentially a new record. Hunter and I were within spitting distance of each other in kindergarten and first grade. So I like what I'm hearing on that. And then the first thing I'm gonna think of is your mom, Liz Hunter, right? Because she's been an admin in Oceanside Unified, and I think she's hooked up a lot of us that have been in the district anytime we ran into her. And so that's what I'm guessing is the reason you being over in Oceanside is mom's connections.
That's correct. Yeah. So growing up, my mom was in elementary school. She was the dean of students at Jefferson Middle School. And so it was easier for my parents to drop me off at Palmquist than it was the Vista schools. And they had like the track system. I don't know if you remember that, but so it was like impossible for my parents who, worked, where they did. My dad was in Carlsbad and my mom was Oceanside. So it was much easier to go to Palmquist. So yeah, I was actually a Palmquist kid. And I was babysat by one of the oldest families in Oceanside, the Pow Pows, when I was in kindergarten. So,
I didn't know that you had that Pow Pow. Oh lordy! So like Courtney before it was cool, and all those people.
I did, yes. In Travis, unfortunately, rest in peace. And I was actually introduced. I got signed footballs from Junior Seau because I believe Junior Pow Pow, he was I think his uncle or his cousin or something like that. And so he hooked me up with a couple. I still have them. I still have Junior Seau footballs and cards signed. Yeah. So, but yeah. So I went to Palmquist for elementary, and then I went to middle school. Went to Roosevelt, which is Vista Unified, but it's still technically Oceanside.
Yeah.
And Luke was there. Me and Luke went to middle school together, but I really didn't know too many people going into middle school. Just really Luke and a couple guys from baseball. I knew Quincy. Quincy went to Roosevelt as well. I knew him from baseball, actually not basketball. So, and then obviously El Camino. So all my schooling technically done in Oceanside. Raised in Vista. I guess technically born in. I was born in Scripps, La Jolla, but anyways.
Well, man, I learned something new about you. The Oceanside roots run deep. I'll
Yeah.
be you, child of Vista. We've got some crossover there. Taking a step forward into your college choice, what drew you out to ASU? And is it Tempe? Do I have that area correct?
Yeah, Tempe, Arizona.
Tempe.
Yeah, I think out of high school, I really wanted to go to a big school. After basketball was done, I had some opportunities to be a preferred walk-on for a couple of schools, but didn't really want to pay the tuition for a small school to get us, and do all that stuff. So
Yeah.
I love basketball, but I think it was just like, I'm not going to really do anything with this. So I went to Arizona State and quickly missed basketball. And so I ended up actually going back to junior college to go play again and try and get a scholarship, and blew up my ankle for the third time. I had 2 ankle surgeries, for those that don't know, in high school. And then went back to Arizona State. So I had, some of my best friends out there in Arizona State. I loved it out there. It's so much fun. It's a great town, fun, young. And it's that. I think that's kind of what I was looking for. I mean, out of high school initially, there was no other big school that was fairly close by that was really available. I didn't really, I wasn't going to get into UCLA or USC or even SDSU. So my grades were fine. I never really put too much effort into high school. I just cruised to a nice, like, I don't know what I had, like a 3.3 or something like that. That's not going to get you anywhere as far as like big schools go. So I got into Oregon. So those were the two. It was Arizona State, or I was going to go to Oregon. And I went to Arizona State first. And I was like, nah, I don't even need to see Oregon. Like, I saw, beautiful women and all that stuff. And I was like, I'm good. Like, so that was it, man.
I love it. So taking another step forward, give us, for league mates that don't know, we spent a year together somewhere between 2015 and 2016, if I got my dates correct, downtown San Diego. Give us a favorite memory of us living together.
Oh man, you're gonna love this one. I think it makes me laugh every time I think about it. But we had a fun night out on the town in the gas lamp, and anyways, I think you made it home before me, and then I came in, and Space Gary was on the electric keyboard, but it was not plugged in.
No. That was not the only thing that wasn't plugged in, Hunter.
Oh, dude, oh my God, it was probably one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. And that was a good memory. But yeah, man, no, I really did enjoy living with you, man. It was cool, and it wasn't as long because I ended up moving back to Arizona. I think after 8 months of us living together or something like that. And some things happened at my work, and I got a new job opportunity in Arizona, so I ended up taking that. And but yeah, man, our 8 months or whatever it was together was fun, man.
Yeah, it was really fun. Again, it's like, somebody, you spend a long time with them, but like living with them is a whole different thing, right? Because you get that day to day with them. And so, yeah, my favorite memory from us was actually watching the 2016 presidential results night, right? And just like watching all of that unfold, and just like the usual, like watching TV and it just being like, is this really about to fucking happen? And then just like making the call and be like, all right, it fucking happened. I guess we're going out and getting black, right? So like it's just one of those, like, again, you're young, like you got that flexibility because like, well, that's like a Tuesday or a Thursday, and so it's just like, we just fucking went out, and I thought that was an appropriate reaction. And I was one of the things that stuck out when I was thinking about that. Another thing that sticks out when we're thinking about Griffin Hunter, it's got it on the dome, it's got it on the mind. It's not cheese, but it's the Packers. As we know, you're a big fan. You're a partial owner, if I'm talking about that correctly. Maybe give us a little insight into why you're a Packer fan. Or maybe something that somebody who's not a Packer fan wouldn't have known about the franchise if they weren't as deep into the sauce as you are.
Okay, yeah, I think the reason I became a Packer fan, I think when I was really little, I want to say first grade or so, was Brett Favre. So, growing up in San Diego, I think the only games that you would ever see would be either all the Charger games, you would see the Cowboys play, and then you'd see the Packers play because they were good at that time. And I thought Brett Favre was the coolest. He threw it the hardest, he threw it the fastest, whatever. And he was running around all over the place throwing bombs. So I was drawn to that. So by I think first or second grade, I had my first Brett Favre jersey, and ever since then, I stayed loyal to the team. And I think from afar, I think a lot of Charger fans would probably say it's easy being cheesy because of all the success that we've had as far as quarterbacks go. You go from Brett Favre to the great Aaron Rodgers, and now we got Jordan Love, and wow, what a transition! But so many years and in the most insane heartbreaks. So it's really it's been a great ride. Don't get me wrong. I love being a Packer fan. I wouldn't trade it for anything, but there's a lot of heartbreak in there. I think with any, I guess you would get that with any fan base, but it's not all puppy dogs and rainbows over here all the time.
No, and a little nugget for the league and for your sake, Hunter. I don't think I've mentioned this before, but or maybe I have. My neighbor growing up is from Wisconsin, and he's north of Green Bay actually, and so he's a huge Packers fan. And so my earliest football memory is listening to the neighbor, on Sundays, just yelling at the top of his lungs, right? And and he had the always in every truck he ever owned, he had the headrest with the Packer G on it the whole time, and he had the license plate rim, on every car, every truck he ever owned. And so I was too, probably, like, before I knew what was going on, a Packers fan because of Favre and because of my neighbor. But I decided to stick with the Bolts once I got a little bit older. But I do consider Packers as like my backup fandom, and especially again, like with the fucking gunslingers they have, it's never a bad thing to pull up on Sunday and watch those guys do what they do. Another thing that's never I would say an uninteresting show to watch is Hunter in a draft. Going super wide receiver heavy. Was that the plan going into it? Can you give us a breakdown on maybe what you had going in and what you had going out?
Yeah, that was definitely the plan the entire time. It was gonna be elite 2 wide receivers. Hoping to get, I think, 2 guys basically for around 110, somewhere in there, and I got 2 of them for 106. So it was a CD and JJ. And I was just going into it. I mean, last year I thought was a great group of wide receivers that all either got hurt or got a little bit underperformed because of their situation. So I was just gonna draft guys that were pretty much QB proof. It didn't really matter, and just stick those 2 guys in there and hopefully ride them the entire year and not have to worry about those 2 spots. And then I could kind of, alternate in that third wide receiver spot or the flex spot with another guy. So I took a high upside guy as my third wide receiver would be Travis Hunter. If you watch college football at all, he's an absolute freak show of an athlete. And you think, Jacksonville mortgaging their entire future to get the guy. Liam Cohen's going to give him the ball, like, on anything, right? He's got to touch the ball. In my mind, drafting him, he's got to touch the ball a minimum 6 to 10 times a game. And that hasn't been the case so far. I mean, we're through week 3 here, and he's being utilized basically as Cole Beasley. And on the defensive side, he's a nickel corner. So it's like, I don't understand what's going on. That's a quick way to get fired. So hopefully week 4 turns around. But yeah, that was kind of my strategy going. It was wide receiver heavy. I was really thrilled to get Justin Jefferson for 51, and I didn't think CD was going to go for that low at 55. So I was really hyped to get those 2 guys, and then I kind of stayed patient throughout it, and I thought I did a good job of getting guys that I wanted. But like, if you look at my team now, it's kind of a waiting game, with RJ Harvey, and something going to happen there, and then,
Bill.
Bill, exactly. So Yeah, so it's interesting. It's not the start we wanted. Obviously, PD going down too for a couple weeks here, but I got hope for the future. I think we're going to be okay moving forward. I think we've hit our floor early, which is good. Rather hit the floor early than late. Yeah, and I think our best days are ahead of us.
All right, so rolling that analysis of hitting the floor early, our division, we had Brendan on last week. I was kind of, talking up Brendan and I and saying, Hunter and Casey, are they going to, stay pace with us? But here we are. We've got 2 2-1s, 2 1-2s. It's really anybody's division. It's early, right? What's your take on our division?
I think it's a tough division. Going into it, what we're called almost ringless, right? So I mean, we don't have the rings that the other divisions have.
No.
But I think as far as like if you look at the division and how it's drafted, I mean, Brendan got off to a really good start.
He sure did.
He had a dud week against me, thank God. And Brian Flores and that Vikings defense knows how to get after quarterbacks, especially shitty ones. So Jake Browning is not that guy. So you're not that guy, pal. So that was nice to see a little 30 spot from the Vikings to bail me out because everyone's on my team right now for 3 weeks. So you got a little unlucky, but your team, I think your depth is crazy. And I think moving forward, I think it's a tough division. So.
Yeah, I'm still gonna. I like your developmental pieces, right? I think Bill, I think RJ, I think even Hunter, right? That he's got that Jetta elite athleticism upside, right? And if they are gonna start, rolling heads, right? Fucking throw it to the number 2 guy that we traded up for, right? So I think that there's some upside, in your team. Casey, I'm a little worried. Again, he tends to draft a little high. The injuries, to Burrow, I think it kind of caps, one of his biggest assets. Again, all that being said, Chase might be, quarterback proof, right? Because he's just that good. But I'm a little worried about Casey's team. But yeah, I think the rest of us right now all have a chance to make a move on it. Talking about moves, we made moves. We traded Kraft and Worthy for Warren. I, personally speaking, am always a little worried when I'm trading away an asset to a fan, right? Because I'm just wondering, what insider information does he have on Kraft, right? Because there was that knee injury that popped up last week on a Thursday, and we were talking about it through the week because you have him in another league, and I'm trying to stay up to date as best I can. And so my sources were saying this thing, they're saying that thing, right? And then here you are coming after him the next week, right? So it's like, what the fuck does this guy know about it, right? So I don't know if you want to give us a little insights into what's going on or how you saw that trade, but that's a little bit of background on how I saw it.
Yeah, I mean, as far as Tucker goes, I mean, he's incredible. I think he's well on his way to being one of the best tight ends in the league. As far as an inline blocker goes, he blocks a lot. So he has kind of that issue that you have with Kittle is that he's really good at blocking. So they're going to come in there to block. He's on the field 90% of the time. He rarely comes out. Tough dude. But I just think he's phenomenal pass catcher. And the most consistent. So of that group with Jaden Reed going out. And then I think Matthew Golden probably goes nuts this week against a shitty Dallas defense. I really do think the Packers will do whatever they want this week, and it might be a Josh Jacobs 3-touchdown type of game, which would be bad news for you. Or it could be just an air assault. But Mike is going to get his against Dallas, maybe 2-3 sacks. Dak has absolutely no chance. This week. It's going to be really ugly, I think. But yeah, maybe that's my fandom taking over. But anyhow, but yeah, I don't have any other information besides I've seen him play a lot, and I like what I see. And I guess the idea behind trading him, I think Tyler Warren is going to be really, really good. That's why I spent $11 for my second tight end. Just everything you saw from him, coming out of college. I thought he was great, and I think rest of the season, him versus Tucker, I think he probably edges Tucker out maybe a little bit, just because I think he's probably going to run more routes.
Yeah.
But and Danny Dimes likes to work underneath, I think, quite a bit.
Yeah.
So he hasn't gotten any touchdowns yet, but those are coming. So had to get an extra piece, and then slinged up Xavier. So we'll see what happens. I mean, he could be absolutely nothing, or maybe it's a great play. But I mean, if you look at your depth, it's just like you're never going to play him anyway. So I mean, you have Devontae, you got Garrett Wilson, Debo, and it's like, okay, you're never going to play this guy. And Keenan, by the way, great trade.
Thank you
for all the haters out there, dude. I mean, I was part of that crew for sure. I wouldn't say I totally destroyed you on the trade. I just kind of pointed out, and I think I told you that Tyreek has a higher upside than Keenan, and I think that's pretty undisputable.
Sure.
But so far the trade looks good, man.
My only note is you missed one of the most important guys on my bench, Luther Burden III. I'm putting it out there now that he's going to be in my starting lineup, not just for funsies, but for realsies, like late October. And I think we're going to touch on that a little bit later. Okay. And to shift over to the Bears, DeAndre Swift, is he keeping you up at night as a start decision? I know that you don't have him in our league, but he's one of those guys that a little bit of under the radar in the offseason, right? Kind of dodged a lot of the draft bug, right? There's nothing coming in from behind. We had Monangai, right? But nothing kind of immediately challenging him. And we know the history with the coaching staff, right? They shipped him off in Detroit, and now they're kind of like reassuming that, right? And he's had, again, some up and down performances from the offense. Are you looking at DeAndre Swift as like a buy low opportunity, or how do you feel about that guy?
No, not at all. I think I drafted him 2022. I think that was the peak of his powers. He got hurt, I think, second week. He went nuts his first week, got hurt the second week, and then he was just a dude. He's just a guy to me. He's not. He's straight line speed is incredible. He's very fast. But I mean, everywhere he's gone, they move his ass because he's just not that good. I mean, and he's been in every great situation you could think of. He was behind the Detroit offensive line. He's behind the Eagles offensive line. And now he's behind all these, outside weapons. It's like the focus isn't on DeAndre Swift. They're not packing 8 in the box for him, So he's been in good situations his entire career, and he's just a dude to me. And then the rest of that crew in that backfield, they can't play. So especially Roschon Johnson can't play. So, but of course he goes for 2 touchdowns and sinks my season last year. But whatever, we're not going to talk about it. I'm just kidding. Well, honestly, that game against Evan last year is still. I think that'll be one of the ones that's sticking my craw for a while. That was the most absurd game I've ever seen in my life. But whatever.
I had him in the show notes. I was going to touch on him one way or another, so I'm glad you got him out of the way for us. One of the things that I don't think has been like a super big drumbeat, but I've heard in some of the channels that I listen to that there's the beginnings of a whisper of the trade winds of a Breece Hall for DJ Moore type of swap. And so do you think the Bears and the Jets are in a position, again, same thing, they know each other, right? Are they kind of texting on the side, a little bit of collusion? Is that a trade that makes sense to you for the Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn connection?
Oh, that's interesting. I don't know. I mean, Justin Fields can't get the ball to 2 guys anyways. He's just going to key on one guy. He's going to go first read anyway. So it's just going to go to Garrett Wilson every time. I don't know what you need DJ Moore for. I think DJ Moore would be so pissed off if he went. Oh, sick. Now I'm the number 2 over here. I don't know. That'd be brutal for him. I mean, as far as Breece going to the Bears, it's just like, he's an upgrade over Swift for sure. But
the knuckles to the Sonic, right? So, and then like DJ Moore, big body, he could be that blocking receiver, right? And so, he might not like it, right? But You got Garrett Wilson catching passes. You got DJ Moore kind of running that scheme, and so it's like one of those things that kind of makes sense. Again, probably not going to happen, but fun to think about. Another thing that's fun to think about are some of these upcoming running backs. Tom hitting on the Benson come up, me hitting on the Mason come up, and I believe it's Sam who has had the good fortune to have the Scatterboo come up. Mr. Ben, Trevion Henderson. We got Ramondre and Antonio fumbling. Is this an open window for Trev to walk through? I mean, he's got the skill set, hasn't necessarily shown it as a blocker early on. Do we even trust the offense? I think I brought this up in the past, Josh McDaniels and this kind of tension between, what's his face, the head coach, Vrabel, right? And that, hard-nosed fucker wanting to run the ball with Ramondre type. You think this is an opportunity to sell high on Trevion, or how would you be treating Trevion if you were managing him?
No, I mean, Ben's got a 30-point performance coming against me this week with Trevion. I was watching. I had the red zone on, and I saw the fumble come, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I know, there it is." So, no, I mean, all the reports and everybody talking about him in the preseason. He's electric, and honestly, I haven't seen much of him. I hadn't seen too much of him in college, but I think. Everything I've seen as far as like clips go and all that stuff, he looks incredible. So it's a good week for Ben to start him and to light me up. So, but too bad for Ben. It's not going to be enough. So we got a little JJ surprise in Dublin this week. So it's going to be a nice little break. He doesn't see it coming yet, but once he sees the pod, then he'll know.
They're after me Lucky Charms. It's not so lucky.
Wait, hold on. You brought up Scatterboo. So I mean, I think I did everything I could to try to trade for him with Sam. Yeah. But Sam's not going for it. He's treating him basically as a top 12 running back in the league right now. So it's like, what am I going to give him? CD or JJ? So it's just those trade talks fell apart really quick. But he's gonna. I think I told you off the show here that I think Killer Cam is the best Arizona State player I've ever seen play in my being a fan. So I graduated from ASU in 2013. So from 2013 till 2009 is when I went there. Until now, I think he's the best I've seen. He gave Ashton Jeanty a little bit of a run. As far as the best running back in the nation. Graham Simmons and Evan Simmons would disagree, but give me Killer Cam any day. I hope he does well. I don't think I have a shot at getting him.
No, man, I agree. He's been a killer so far, right? Choosing his own number, wearing that 44 fullback, right? And he represents, that action. And speaking of action, he's about that action, boss. He's bringing that Marshawn Lynch energy to the league, right? Definitely. Another thing that we've seen in the league, right, is this kind of shift to like the too high, cover schemes and taking away the deep pass and kind of forcing the run underneath, right? He represents that fucking hard-nosed dude who's just going to go there and fucking take it from you, right? Like all the highlights from him, it's not he's putting up gaudy stats or anything like that, but he's just fucking lining guys up and fucking putting them down, right? Is Scatterboo the return of the new old school? Are we watching the birth of a new era that's being led by the Scatterboo of the league?
Oh, wow, that's incredible. I hope so, man. That'd be incredible for my alumni and I hope so. I think you see a lot. Well, obviously throughout the league, you see the split carries, the two running back scheme. You got the bruiser, and then you got the quick guy usually on third down or whatever. But just a a Peyton Hillis type, Mike Allstott type. That'd be pretty sweet, man. Yeah, shout out to the white running back.
Yeah, man, a rare breed, but those fullbacks, right? San Francisco, Baltimore's running them, right? Like we've got our own guy, Matlock, who's running around on defense and offense, just just a monster 6'4", like 280, just has no business, holding the ball, but he's out there just fucking taking people out, right? And we're seeing that, that shift. Another thing that we might need to be shifting off, right, is Kenny not firing up Michael Penix anymore. Thank God. He had 0 turnover worthy throws in his short, I think it was 3-game stretch last year. Looked really rough last week. Do you think he's going to have a get right game coming up at the secondary? He's going to be facing against the Commanders. I think if my notes are right, that he's got 4 or 5 cornerbacks that are banged up in that room. Is it a do or die weekend for the Atlanta offense?
That's a great question. Man, we talked about Jake Browning a little earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're talking about Penix. We're talking about Washington quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
The only Washington quarterback I ever believed in was Jake Locker. So all 3 of those guys, they're not any good. I had Penix I didn't really think Penix was very good. I think I told Griffin Springfield last year, and he had a great Penix had a surprising run at the end of last year, but I just didn't think because he went into ASU and he looked absolutely awful. It was one of the worst games I ever seen from a quarterback, and so I'm getting drafted as high as he did in Atlanta. I was just shocked, and so. But anyways, he comes out and he balls. He played really well, I thought, at the end of last year, and I was like, oh, well, I'll just take the L. But yeah, I guess there's murmurs of a Kirk Cousins reemergence in Atlanta, which I love. I think Kirk Cousins right now is probably better than Michael Penix, which is a fringe opinion, probably. Which I don't care. That's fine. But yeah, it's not do or die. I mean, like as far as he goes, he's got a leash. They invested a lot in him. I think he went top 15 in the draft. I can't remember what number it was, but yeah, I have no faith in that offense. Besides Bijan, I think Bijan is the best prospect I've seen besides Saquon at running back since Adrian Peterson. So besides that, USC receivers besides. Pittman, I don't draft. I draft Michael Pittman every year. He's bad. He's good this year, and he's been good before. But whenever I draft him, he's not good. So
no, I like that point you're bringing up. The Captain Kirk getting fired up again, right? I think that was one of the criticism early on in the draft, right? They took him so high. What are they doing? They got Kirk, right? But kind of back to this other theme that we kind of brought up was this idea that old school football's coming back, right? It wasn't too long ago that quarterbacks never fucking played in their first year or two, right? Aaron Rodgers didn't play. Jordan Love didn't play, right? And that's worked out pretty good for you guys, right? I think there's something to be said about that idea of having the rook on a short leash, right? So that when they are shitty, you pull them like they did in the last game, right? Because sometimes it might just be better to let the guy sit and learn a little bit, right? And so, like I wouldn't be surprised if we see him sit, but at the same time, again, my sources have him as, not like a stellar prospect by any means, but a starter in the league, right? So I think it's an interesting position to watch, but definitely not good for fantasy. Another thing that might not be so great for fantasy is Bo falling apart. Do we feel like he's a waffler at his nature, right? Because we saw a lot of these big plays that he just kind of missed by inches. It kind of feels like Sean Payton's just kind of trying to run him back as Drew Brees, when maybe he's not kind of a Drew Brees player. He's kind of more of a gunslinger, akin to like Rivers or Burrow. Do you feel like he's got the ability to elevate this offense? Because they've got some players. Or do you feel like this Denver offense is just kind of doomed to be stuck in mediocrity, flip-flopping, winning some games, losing some games, making the Caseys of the Sam of the world a little bit more depressed?
Yeah, I mean, they probably have more tape on him than I do. I mean, he's a yo-yo, right? It's like one game he looks incredible, and then the next he looks absolutely awful. So I really don't know how to even evaluate how good of a player he is yet. I mean, it's just his second year, start of his second year. And he was one that, fresh out the frying pan into the fire type of guy. So, and I think he's handled it pretty well, but he's got to lean on that defense and that running game, which JK's killing it right now, which is killing me. But all props to him. I hope he keeps it going. What an incredible story as far as injuries go. Like, he's had some absolutely devastating injuries, and he looks phenomenally. Like, every part of his game is good, and it's just like that's why he can't leave the field. And RJ Harvey's just rotting on my bench because JK looks too damn good. So, but yeah, as a young quarterback, just lean on those two things. I think he's just going to be fine, and he'll be all right. I mean, it's a tough division, but they'll get a wild card or something. They got a shot, I guess, at the division, but yeah, I'm just waiting for RJ to make an appearance at some point. That'd be nice.
It sure would be. Something that's not so nice and might have that same kind of run stink to it. Kansas City offense. It's kind of a confusing situation. How are we looking to fix this thing? They've got, some injuries with Xavier and Hollywood. Kelsey's looking absolutely washed. Rashid's bouncing back from his own injury. Is Tyquan Thornton the truth in this offense? Is he the answer, or what's your take on this?
Absolutely not. No, it's not the truth. Tyquan Thornton's the truth. Oh my God. I don't know. I'll just stop. I'll just stop playing fantasy football. I'm done. No, he's not the truth. But Xavier Worthy getting healthy, I think, is going to help. At least out there. I don't know how healthy he really is. And then Rashid coming back here in a couple weeks, they're going to look a lot better. I just don't think Patty Mahomes looks as good without an elite offensive line and an elite running game. And so I think that's a lot with a lot of quarterbacks. If you don't have an elite offensive line and an elite running game, I think you suffer a little bit. And he's finding that. And he doesn't have any weapons either besides, like you said, a washed Kelsey. So, he's running a lot more than he has in the past. And I think that's out of necessity. So, and he can't hit a deep ball to save his life because he doesn't have a guy running a 4-1 out there named Tyreek running under it. So, I mean, I think, early in the career, the whole, Patrick Mahomes is the greatest quarterback to live, looks really stupid right now, especially these past 3 years. It's clearly the main part of that entire team is their defense. Their defense is incredible. And so, but yeah, no, I mean, obviously he's a phenomenal quarterback. Don't get me wrong, but I think it was a little quick to jump to the Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers talk of who's better. But that was
I hear you on that, right? It's Spags defense, tracking people down in the mud and, beat them with experience. He does have some rookie help coming back, right? So the Jim Royals missed early year with some knee injuries, and Brashard Smith's been inactive a few times, but one of those guys that is touted as some upside, right? One of those things that hearing whispers out of Kansas City, he might not be physical enough, right? And Kansas City is definitely one of those franchises where you got to earn it. Do you feel like the rookies are going to have some answers in the future? Are these guys worth stashing now before they break out?
Yeah, I'm not sure, to be honest with you, as far as like those deep bench stashes on, as far as running backs go. I just think Andy Reid, I think I've said he's the best coach in the NFL. So I think he's seen enough of Kareem Hunt and Pacheco to know they're not very good at this point. I mean, unfortunately, Pacheco just lost the ACL. Like some guys like J.K. Dobbins can just dude's like ripped up his knee twice, broke his fibula, and he's still out here balling. Like, but some guys they rip up their knee once and that's it. Like they're just never the same, and that's clearly Pacheco. He's never going to be the same, and he's seen enough tape, and so he's got to go to somebody. So either he's going to go to the 7th round. I think he's a 7th round rookie, right? Or they're going to make a trade, or find somebody off the street like they did Kareem Hunt last year. Make it happen. So I mean, they just can't operate with a guy that's getting them 3.1 a carry and has no juice in their legs. That's not an Andy Reid offense, and so they'll make adjustments. I mean, they'll make adjustments. I don't know who they're gonna pick up. I'm trying to think of a running back room that's loaded, but yeah, maybe Charbonnet goes over there. That'd be fucking cool.
Yeah, no, that was you were reading my mind, Hunter. So I was trying to line that up, right? So one of the storylines that's really easy to connect, right, is Tyreek coming back, right? You already kind of mentioned him. He's looking good this year, right? I was talking some heavy shit, right, towards Thomas's way, especially after that trade, right, about him, not being his old self, or not looking to have that upside. But I agree with you, right? I was skeptical, right? I definitely was riding the fear wave, shipping him probably too low, but that's a connection that makes a lot of sense, right? And then on that running back side, that was gonna be my next question. I was going to try to give you some time to line that up, but you already answered it for me, right? And then maybe thinking back to some of that earlier question, right? Maybe Breece Hall, like I don't know who they would ship for that, right? But again, there were some rumors back to the draft that they were thinking about moving on from Hall, right? Because Braylon Allen was getting all fucking hype. So Breece Hall, in that offense looks pretty fucking exciting, and Tyreek. So like either one of those things, make them a Super Bowl contender again in your eyes, or do you just feel like they're more than one piece away?
That's a great question. Yeah, I don't think it's just a running back, but I think with the running back, with the receivers getting back, I think that offense is good enough at that point to really be a contender to win the AFC again. And the defense is still good. It's just not as good as it was. I don't think. Chris Jones is getting a little older, but he's so good. But yeah, I think they're close. They're close, man. Yeah. I mean, yeah, and if it's a running back that they think is going to prevent them from moving forward, especially in January or December, they're going to go get them, and that's what they'll do.
And they do. They make moves. And we're going to be moving on to Feel It or Fuck It. We're doing great on time, Hunter, so keep this nice and tight for us. Feel It or Fuck It, Hunter. Cam Skattebo, the lead back from here on in.
Oh, 100% feel that. Yeah, he's by far the best running back.
Yeah, I think I wrote this before we had news that Tyrone Tracy was out, right? But totally with you there. He's fucking feeling that shit. He's going to be a bruiser for the rest of the year. Caleb Williams breakout season coming.
No, absolutely not. No, absolutely fuck that. That's madness. I should go on a rant here just for the people.
Go for it. Give it to us.
No, dude. His entire, from when he went from Oklahoma to USC, became a diva, was crying in the stands. Like, you just knew he was going to be a bust, and it was a terrible rookie year. They give him every single excuse under the sun. It's his OC, it's his head coach, it's his offensive line. And then what? So they go out, they draft wide receiver, tight end, wide receiver. They give him every single weapon in the world. And now we're still talking about, like, does he have enough? Oh, what else can we do to get Caleb some more? It's so sickening. There's no other quarterback that's more pampered than this kid. And fuck the Bears. Fuck the Bears. And I'm so sick of it. I can't wait till Matt LaFleur. I don't know if you saw what Ben Johnson said about beating Matt LaFleur. Like, okay, first of all, like, Ben Johnson's running the fucking show over there in Detroit anyways. It's clearly Dan Campbell's fucking team. He's still running trick plays every goddamn Sunday. He's going for it on fourth down every single. That's not Ben Johnson. That's Dan Campbell. So he can fuck off with all that. And I can't wait for us to bury them 48-10 or whatever they're going to do. And then run up some fucking bullshit. Sympathy touchdown to DJ Moore. Poor guy. That poor guy's got the worst run of quarterbacks of all time. DJ Moore's a really good player. But anyways, as I go on my tangent, I just wanted to say that no, fuck the Bears. Caleb Williams, garbage. He's the worst quarterback in our division. And for all those talking heads out there that are running their stupid little mouths about Caleb's going to be this, he's going to be the best player in the division. It's never going to happen. While I'm alive, it will never happen. He'll never be better than Jordan Love. He'll never be better than Jared Goff. He probably will never be better than JJ McCarthy. He's dog water. I've had enough.
I thought you were going to go as far as Wentz, but at least you gave him the JJ Waterline.
He might be better than JJ through 2 weeks. I think everybody's better than him through 2 weeks. Jesus.
Yeah.
But yeah, he'll get better. I mean, anybody that gets drafted by, I think, Kevin O'Connell as a quarterback, there's some sort of trait that JJ has that he sees. He's definitely the QB whisperer as far as I'm concerned in the NFL. So that's why I have maximum confidence in both, draft. Jay Jetta's QB proof. I could be throwing him the damn ball and he's getting 1,500 yards, but also TJ Hawkinson. So, but anyways, I just had to get that off my chest. Fuck the Bears. I've had it with them. I can't wait to bury them. I can't wait.
I love it, Hunter. I love to hear it. I love the passion. We'll just hit you with a couple more at the end. We'll just hit these couple and then we'll hop over to Space Time. Turpin is a money ad this week.
Oh yeah, money.
Nick Chubb needs more touches.
Oh man, that offense is broken. Yeah, give it to him.
Ashton Genty is not a generational talent.
Oh, generational strong, but he's a great player. I think he's going to be just fine, but he's not generational now.
All right. Trey Tucker, he's the real deal.
Hell yeah, he's starting. I'm firing that sucker up, baby. Let's go.
Let's go.
Again. Let's get it, baby.
And should Justin Fields be the starter for the Jets for the rest of the season?
Oh, yeah, he's a lot more fun to watch than Tyrod Taylor. They're going to be a shitty team, so it's fire his ass up. He's a lot of fun to watch. Then they're going to lose a ton of games.
All right, that was Field or Fuck It with Griffin Hunter. Moving on to Space Time. We stepped off of health 2 weeks back. Brendan brought us into the age of AI. Griffin, AI, how has it impacted your life? We can go personally, professionally, and then my personal pet theory is drawing up the comparison about the dawn of AI that I think that we're in the early hours of as we lived our lives through the dawn and the maturation of the internet. So AI, Hunter, when I say those two letters, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, that's great. Great question. So as far as personally, I mean, it's just so much information that's so quickly generated through everything. Like I just recently went through like a tire purchase, right? So it's just like, all right, these tires the best for my car, these tires the best, and you're just comparing like shopping stuff. Like you're talking, like me personally, I love history, so I'll look like history and stuff like that. I think it's really a really cool thing as far as personally to utilize. Just as something fun to use sometimes, I think, honestly. And then professionally, it saves me hours, honestly, at work, drafting up some sales emails every now and then. When I'm going through like a scope of work for a proposal or something like that, instead of, handwriting it out, and like which is normally like how I operate. Like I would usually like write a lot of things. That's how my brain works. Just typing it into ChatGPT, let it do that thing, and then kind of write it out. I don't know. Anyways, it saves me a lot of time. So as far as your I guess comparison to is it like kind of like the dawn of the internet? I think you might be onto something for sure, man. It's utilized in so many different things now that I don't even think like we realize. And so man, I think it's a really neat thing. I use it. We all use it all the time, and I think it's really cool. I guess like how has it impacted you?
Yeah, I mean, kind of back to your tire scenario, right? I think one of the examples I gave last week was when we did our first birthday for Amelia, we basically handed off all the party planning mental load to it, right? So like we asked it to kind of like compare, cost for catering as opposed to like doing it ourselves, estimating how much time it would take, like coming up with a grocery list, right? And we basically just like let it drive, right? So like we steered the ship a little bit, but like for the most part, we handed off a lot of like the stress of like planning a party for 50 people to the AI, and it did a pretty good job, right? And it's one of those things that, it's like, I think the early understanding that I had of it was just kind of like Google on crack, right? It's just that search engine that's able to kind of put stuff together, right? And then, for our league, I picked up a programming project that was already built that picked up Yahoo API information. And then I used AI to help me kind of bring me up to speed enough to where I could get the damn thing to work, right? And so I had like enough background in order to do that. It wasn't like I was just like programming from nothing, right? Like I can do a little bit here and there, but I've never done anything that specific in that language or like directly working with APIs. And it was a very interesting exercise because I found myself running into a lot of the same issues I run into my like everyday life, right? That like I get stuck on problems. Like I have the paralysis of analysis, right? I just get kind of stuck on one little thing and I'm trying to fucking like work my way through intellectually, like getting over the wall when just the right answer is like take a step back and go to the left, you dummy, right? Like you don't have to fucking get over it every single time. And so like AI has been interesting because it kind of frees you up, right? But then I've also noticed that like it's kind of made my character defects stick out that much more, right? And when I think about like the internet or just technology in general, I'm a believer that technology is agnostic, that it's one of those things that amplifies. And so if like you're a good user, it amplifies the good you can do. And if you're a bad user, it amplifies the bad you can do, right? And so with AI, that's kind of been some of the things that I've been noticing as well, is that like the things that I'm good at, it helps me do that much faster. And the things that I'm bad at, it just immediately shows me how bad I am because I'm typing in a prompt like 5 different ways and it's telling me the same thing, and I don't know if like I'm imagining it or if it's like getting frustrated with me, but like I've had a few times, especially on like the database project where it was like, Ken, like I've been telling you as nicely as I can that you're fucking an idiot, right? But you need to like retype this prompt to me. And like, it wasn't being mean or anything like that, but like, I felt like it was kind of being short towards the end, And so I think that like the use cases that I've been trying to throw at it are everything. And it's one of those things that like maybe 6 to 12 months ago, I just made like a conscious decision to say, fuck it, everything's going into AI and I'm just going to see how it goes. So I'm curious, if you want to pick up on anything I just said, I'm cool. But then like, especially for hobbies, right? And like applying that new lens through it, right? So like how has, pick up anything I just said, or how has your relationship to like being a history buff changed now that you're able to like pick up and dig into stuff with AI?
I think you can get like a lot more granular with any topic with it. So, and I think, details matter in a lot of certain situations and stuff like that. And I think those facts, especially like history wise, are really interesting. Like, how did exactly did the battle start? Hey, I like, for example, I have audio book about World War II that I've been playing, and they certain historians make the case that that World War II didn't start with Germany actually invading Poland, but actually it started with Japan invading Manchuria, and so you can talk to ChatGPT about that and like kind of go through some of those details with obviously outside the book, and then you can like relate it back to the book, like, hey, this is what this says, what do you think about that, or like how accurate is this specific part, and that is really interesting. I think kind of bouncing off of what you said, obviously anything where you're using it abundantly, you got to be careful, right? Like as far as cleanness of information and stuff like that too. I noticed in some of the ChatGPT stuff that I looked at on like really recent events, a lot of it draws from like Reddit and shit like that, and that's not really a great source. You got to be careful, I think, on some of it, but it is really helpful and it's fun to use, I think, in certain situations and shopping, history, any of those types of things. So
I think that like making that demarcation about like fact-based things, right? Things that you can kind of go and look up, right? And then kind of some of these maybe more emotionally driven things, right? That are like, yeah, I've read similar things, right? That like huge chunks of a lot of what it's spitting back out at you is from like Reddit, right? And Reddit is just fucking people on the internet, and there's a good chunk of those people that are bots, right? And so you're getting fed information by a machine to a machine that's then feeding you, that information, as if it's been, sourced or something, right? And so that is something that like I'm again like fully aware of, right? And so it's like it's like anything, right? Like you're on the internet, being kids of the 90s and the 2000s, right? Like we're fully aware like the internet is not a real place, right? Like it can have things on there that are cool, right? But like, we're the ones that are telling our parents like, don't fucking click that link on the email, or like, even now, right? Like kind of I've known people who've gotten phone calls where they've spoofed their voice with AI, and they're like, "Hey, mom, can you wire me some money? I got picked up, and I need some bond money, right?" And like, I've seen AI videos of Elon Musk in front of like a NASA launch, who's like releasing his exclusive, crypto, right? And it took me like a half second because like the whole concept of him doing that like doesn't really trip any alarms for me, right? But the fact that like it was being broadcasted live on like NASA was like no fucking way, right? But like these deep fakes and like these things are getting to the point, I think, that the general population would maybe not have a hard time differentiating, but I also don't feel like the pace of AI is slowing down. So like that waterline of where we're going to be able to differentiate between things kind of like on that emotional side is going to catch up to us really fast, right? And so that's the thing that like, again, I have no idea what that's going to look like, but it's something that's interesting to me. And then kind of on the fact-based side, right, this idea that you can go back and check things and you can kind of pause, right? You're reading a book and historically you'd have that question, right? But then like for you to go answer that question about that one specific battle, it'll take you fucking hours to go like scour the internet or like go read reference books, and you can just kind of like tightly get an idea of what's going on. If you want to drill down, you can, right? And so I like it for that same purpose, right? And taking like a slight aside away from the AI stuff, just because it's topical. You brought up the World War II thing, and a little bit topical in the sense that, maybe a future topic, as we outgrow technologies, what's going to be left behind in our lives, or maybe like in our kids' lives, as AI starts taking over stuff, right? So the example is, my grandfather fought in World War II. He flew like over 100 missions as a pilot, and there's actual physical footage of him running missions.
That's incredible.
Another family member digitized, but it's sitting on a CD upstairs in a drawer. And none of the devices that I own have optical or CD drives, right? So like I can't even play the damn CD, right? So one of the guys I met at work is like an electrical engineer, and he just has a whole bunch of parts playing around or kicking around. He said, "Oh, I can." I was talking to him about it, and he's like, "Oh, I can loan you a drive, right?" And so I'm thinking about this live for the first time, just about this idea of like, as technology moves so far, right? Like we went through floppies, we went through VHS, we went through CDs, we went through DVDs. USB sticks used to be these tiny little fucking things. Now you can go buy like 2 terabyte fucking USB sticks at Costco for $49.99, right? And so it's like, are we going to be watching, certain industries just kind of like disappear as AI just takes over some stuff? Like, do you have any insights, maybe in like your neck of the woods professionally, like where AI is going to be taking people's jobs from us?
Oh, definitely. I think a lot of what I started in software sales, I think a lot of the SDR work is going to go away to basically AI. So I don't even think that role is going to exist. It barely exists now. That's how I started my career when I moved. When I graduated college, I moved to the Silicon Valley and started in software sales. And so that role, which is an entry level role, I don't think is going to exist anymore. That's just one example. I think there's plenty out there. Not really in my business now, but there's probably hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of certain jobs are gonna go by the wayside because of it. And I guess the counter to that is that somehow it's going to open up more So we'll see about that. Who knows? But yeah. I mean, that's a whole debate.
Yeah,
On its own, right? But
sure.
but yeah, specifically to me, yeah, I don't think it's going to affect my business.
Yeah, we don't have a ton of time left, but I do want to get your thoughts on this real quick. So, like my old job, I was talking to a coworker, and they're in the process of rolling out a software that listens into sales calls and then like gives them a report, right? So it's doing two things. One, it's training a model on all of the sales people on their calls. And then the second thing is then it gives them like a script back and says, this model is reading how the best salesmen work. And it's giving you critique on your sales call based off of how this like super aggregate of all the best people would have done that call. Is that something that kind of like sounds like you would have something to say about real quick?
Oh yeah, I think what you're articulating is a software called Gong.
Okay.
That's that, or it could be a different one, but I think they're kind of the innovator of doing exactly that.
Yeah.
So I've seen the technology. I've actually had to use it before, and it's a pain in the ass as far as like a sales guy goes, because then you have to listen to your calls. You're going to be critiqued on your calls all the time. And it's just like, I don't need that shit. Most of mine now is in the field, so I'm meeting people face to face, which is really nice. I think that's a good segue actually, is getting away from a lot of that and having real conversations with people. And I think using technology as a way to bring your friends together, your family together, see them, look them in the eyes or talk to them, I think is probably the best part of technology, right? It's not really maybe isolating and talking to ChatGPT all the time, and although it can be highly informative, certain aspects, I think just personal interaction, that's me personally, like I get a lot of energy off of being around people I like, and stuff like that. So I'm not like the most social person, I would say. Like I can be, but I think human interaction is something that is really, it's huge. I've really felt it really sucked for me and millions of others during COVID, and I really that time really sucked. But yeah, man. Anyways, that was a segue, but yeah, I think utilizing technology to bring people together, I think is a good thing.
Yeah, I think that's a beautiful turn in the conversation, and like a nice way to put a bow on it is one of those answers or one of those lines of debate is it frees us up to be more human, right? It frees us up to have these human conversations. It frees us up to have more connections, right? As humans, it takes away the kind of busy bullshit work that we were doing in our lives, and it frees us up to have more connection, right? So, we're here talking to each other in part, some small part to like AI doing something out there, right? But just in general technology, and ultimately at the base of that is some human doing some labor, at some point in the past. So it's a beautiful thing, Hunter. I appreciate having you on. It was a blast having you out in space. You have any final thoughts for the people?
Yeah, I do. Well, first of all, thank you for having me on. I hope I can be on right before I make my playoff run in this championship. I hope you have me on. I'll talk a little smack to whoever's in my way.
Okay.
Well, we get this 1-2 team that can't score more than 100 points on the right track. I'll do everything I can to make it work. But no, it's been a pleasure getting on the podcast for the first time, and hopefully not the last. And good to catch up with you. It's been a while. So wish you the best, Mr. Kendall Cook. Your team's looking good, and we'll catch up throughout the season.
Yeah, thanks, Hunter. I appreciate it, and best of luck to you. In a universe empty or overflowing with star stuff, I'm glad to have shared this moment with you now. You are loved from here to fantasy football till death. And bang.